selling the National Theatre. I fought it, and Mr. Anikulapo led that fight some 10 years ago when they were initially going to sell it. I don't know now if I want to fight the idea of selling the National Theatre, because you begin to ask yourself now if we shouldn't have allowed them to sell it at that time. Perhaps it would have been a better idea to have had it sold. I think at the time we had hope, there was faith. So everyone that was part of that conversation thought it was possible to make those guys serious in and keep this facility. But at this point, I think we're all clear that where there's oil, you're joking. No one is going to spend their time and resources, except, otherwise you have a different set of people running the affairs of the state. So at this point, I'm for, I really don't care. So you want to sell it? Go on. Yeah. Will you please put some terms and conditions that can ensure that at least the theater as it is remains and does what it needs to do? But even if you say no to that, too bad, go. So he didn't even do, I don't know, maybe not to the general public, as if they did some consulting, maybe they had an event.
The insincerity of those who were proposing to sell. Nobody has really said don't sell. I remember the position paper in my organization, Cora, that we wrote. We actually gave them options of what you could do with the National Theatre. It's a massive land.
What year was this?
That was some 5-6 years ago. Okay. No, more than that. Because Tibros was still alive then. Yeah. He was one who actually led it. We did a position paper that said there are so many options. One of the options we told them was the equity. The world is run by equity. And I can boast that I've had experience within the New York artist community through Ford Foundation. That's what they run. It's equity. It is not as if you do outright sale. Yeah. You just say take the building and we know. Those who have been buying your so-called NEPA, PSN, or whatever they call it. What have they done with that? It's not about not selling, but about the sincerity of what you want to do. What we're saying is that there should be a stake. And there are people you call stakeholders.
Yeah.
It's not government money. So when we say do away with government, we're not just saying government as if it's a distant thing. The government is part of us. We're saying that there are people who pay tax, whose profession, whose vocation depend on this. And if you're going to sell the National Theatre or not sell it, I think there should be a proper consultation.
What does, sorry sir, what does the lawyer that brought about National Theatre in the first place, what was the purpose in the first place, and were there like a sort of policy document guiding the establishment and running of this facility?
There's a policy document for National Theatre which says that National Theatre exists to serve the interests of Nigerians. Primarily to serve the interests of the artist. Secondarily to serve the interests of everybody. So the law is still there. Whatever they're doing now, they're trying to circumvent it. Okay? So that law, every time they bring up this issue about the National Theatre, nobody even go back to that law. Say what the National Theatre ought to be. They take the National Theatre as if it's an abandoned project because they really abandon it. Make sure that it does not work. Yeah. They make sure that it does not work. So that you and I can believe that look, the best thing to do with it is to dispose of it. Have they tried to make it work? Why did they work under a guy called Ayeni? I cannot work. The MDL had to pump over 24 million into the place. Into the environment, they never even touched the National Theatre. They didn't touch the building. Coca-Cola pumped over 20 million into the Christmas tree, which has disappeared from there now.
Not 20 million, so I can correct you on that.
Oh, okay.
I'm aware of it. Particular year that was over 100 million.
Yeah.
What did you do that was always
for me personally, right, is that I think I'm tired of seeing huge government buildings lying fallow, abandoned. That's what that has been. There's no light. The community is like
you won't put light in
ready to sell it.
Yes. So, but I mean, if there's a law that sets up the National Theatre, we don't know the letter of what they're planning to do with this. They say they're going to turn it into a mall. The mall can also be a cultural space. So I think that in some way they may want to preserve the cultural identity of that place. Nothing for calling it National Theatre Mall.
Yeah, of course.
You understand? I mean, that would be an idea that would make everybody happy that okay, it's still National Theatre we know, and nothing stopping from leaving the structure externally as it is, so that we can still see that peculiar shape that will come here. But then you cannot have a makeover inside. Internally. So, but I think that theatre needs to be put to use. That is the only reason why I'm saying that I support this sale. But then, what are the terms behind this sale? Is it another sale
which we
like
don't
TBS?
know
TBS has been sold for how many years now?
Is it working?
It's not working. So, apart from particular
rights.
So, I think that selling it is not a problem. It seems it's sold to the Suzanne Group of Dubai. So, I don't know their antecedents, I don't know their pedigree, I don't know what they've done in terms of managing such huge complexes.
Did it seem to you that $40 million was pretty small?
Well, I mean, it depends, again, on the terms of this.
And what exactly?
What exactly has been sold?
I think
is it a build, operate, and transfer thing? What are the terms that so?
no, but if the word is sold, and so far as this morning, I've not heard anybody coming out strongly to say the story has been misrepresented. If the word is sold, then we all know what it means to sell. BOT, build, operate, and transfer is not selling. So if the word is sold, I'm at the point with not just the National Theatre, but with the running of this country where I am no longer emotional. I try to be realistic. The ideal would be to have government run that place the way it's run anywhere else in the world and make it exist as So I said that is the ideal. That is the ideal. The middle way would be, as we've said, to find some middle point. Come run this store, I'll give you some concession. But I'm saying even if what they want to do is sell to somebody that will come with a bulldozer and pull the place down, I am at the point where I would rather focus on, so what can the art community do? Now that the government has said they don't want anymore, maybe they brought it, in fact, when they brought it, I'm sure Nigeria did not come on and give us national theatre, it was a government that had a vision that, I think it was Muritala's government. You understand? So it was the government that had that vision. So if they come again and they don't, it's fine. I'd rather focus on this. Okay, now that they've sold this stuff for this organization, and we do not know yet as of now what those people plan to do with it. Okay, how do you ensure that facilities like national, because we're talking about just one. Lagos alone would do with 20, 30 or so.
Yes.
Okay, so we talk about one national theatre in the whole country.
Because the sad part is also that for some reason since 1976 when this theatre came up, we still have not been able to, it's still for performances, it's still the best facility that we have. I mean, we can talk of other facilities, the Muson and Eco Hotel and all those hotels and all.
I'm sorry, Eco Hotel is not a performance.
Yeah, I mean, we use them for those things, but the National Theatre is still the best place. And I used to be very emotional about it. The day I performed on the stage of the National Theatre as an actor was one of the greatest days of my life. Okay, but I also know that there hasn't been that sense that there can be a continuation of that kind of thing because we have not been able to program properly. As you see in the National Theatre in England or anywhere else in the world, we've not been able to sustain the facilities. It's not exactly great. I remember in those it used to be said that the venue makes the event. Yes, that's what the National Theatre used to do. They had advertising. They had all of that at that time. But it's not what
in so many ways the tragedy or the unfolding tragedy of the National Theatre is something that we should learn from. Especially in Nigeria, where we do things, we don't maintain them. That place was too big to start with. Of course, it was done for first start. Yeah, so it was like multi, theater space. But how do you sustain that? It's huge. I mean, people think it's just one theater. There are lots of theaters there. So when you say, I mean, it's one for Lagos, it's actually about 6 for Lagos. So if it was being used the way it should be used, it would keep people engaged for days on end, but it's not. So I think that we should start learning how to make things that we can manage, not just because we have the money, we build it and then we
I have a different perspective too. When we talk about development in Nigeria, why Nigeria remains giant of Africa and remain on its feet, on its knee, I talked about scale of vision. The problem we've had with our leaders is the scale of vision. If you go to the airport in Bodering that they're doing, you see how the toilets that will take only 2 people. That you have to see in this century.
Yes.
Why do you go to
the Dubai airport?
To a small country and you have an airport that is so big that you are wondering how many people live in this town? So you have to think about scale of vision, but the maintenance problem is there. To put in context to what they're trying to do, you know, they have this idea of the Nigerian Entertainment City, yes, which is to develop the entire national theater environment into an entertainment city. Fine, you find it everywhere in South Africa, everywhere. But then the openness of the process is what we're not sure of. You have a minister who is just spending less than 3 years. There have been problems that have been on the National Theatre all these years. Those problems are not been tackled.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it is not just the artists who are saying that. You know why they cannot tackle that building? When they are going through the back, Lagos State government is going to hold them to ransom. Lagos State government own the land. I remember when we did the campaign, Fashola came out and said, we gave you the land.
Can I
just come and say that
this just reminds me that in 2000 I think it was 2009 or 10, I went to attend an award in South Africa. The award was held at the city of Adekunle. Exactly what you say that the government is trying to do. It's an entertainment city. All the hotels we stayed were there, the venue was there were casinos there were nightclubs there.
That's what they want to do.
There was everything there. But the venue of the award itself is major. So it's not a wedding venue, it's not a it was built for entertainment events and performances and all that. So if you say that's what they're trying to do, it means they're actually not trying to kill the National Theatre.
No.
So the National Theatre will remain as it is.
Well, we hope. We do not know the terms
terms
of
is
this.
not public.
We don't know the terms of this sale.
So we're
The term is
speaking,
not public.
we're speaking in the dark based on the fact that they say it's been sold. They were saying, okay, if you're selling this thing to somebody, are you saying turn it into a car park?
But what would be the interest of the state in it? Why should the state not have an interest?
For me, I mean, I've come to the point where I believe that the state should not even handle these things.
Why? Because they show clearly that
they cannot. So if you had, say, Cora, for instance, we present to say, okay, this is how this state should be run based on our experiences in Germany, in New York, in South Africa. Then the government accepts that special paper, okay, and we now get 6 or 7 industry partners to form a committee that runs this place. Then we get people who can now endow things, the hall, the whatever, like Muson did. See, Muson has been here for how many years? It's still running.
Yeah.
And being about 30 years now.
Okay, so Muson, not the horse in Muson is up to the horse in National Theatre.
Yeah.
But they are filled year long.
They are surviving.
So it's better because government does not run things well in Nigeria. That's what we do. So
but you said government.
Yeah.
But we also have also shown that we also cannot even organize ourselves.
Okay.
From the music sector to Nollywood, to name any community within the creative sector, we can't even organize ourselves to even run associations well. We cannot run our unions well.
So
we have not even run our businesses well. So now we are complaining about the government. Have we even shown that even the way the Muson is being run, you can tell that it's being run outside of that community. A hotel has become like the event place. It is not being run by people from the creative community. So if we have failed, so have we not failed?
No, but
on our own?
What you're saying now, I mean, it's what I think we should say a bit louder. That the person who is a musician, who plays the conga, has no business arranging the shows.
Okay.
The man who acts on stage has no business booking the hall. Yeah. There should be support systems for every part of the industry.
And we are, which is what essentially most of us here are.
Yeah.
And that's what and we are part of that creative community. Yes. Have we demonstrated in the past 40-something years or 50-something years? Have we demonstrated the capacity?
No.
Are we
to actually run? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That is where leadership. Okay. And leadership is not just about individuals. Leadership is about vision. Okay. If a country exists, I started my journalism career in 1987. The first article I wrote on was the cultural policy of Nigeria. We knew why we were hammering on the idea of the culture. You cannot run a country without a constitution, can you? You cannot run your home without a father process. What you call father rule, that the father says everybody must go to bed at 10 and light out. But they deliberately they deliberately will not allow the cultural police to work. You know why? Because it will not help them to make money. You know why the National Theatre is the way it is? It's because there are some people who have turned into a cash cow. Every year, government votes money to repair the National Theatre. As if they don't repair. Even when people brought Fela on Broadway came, I met them in New York, and they said they wanted to come. They said, don't go any other place. The main bowl of the National Theatre will take your show. They said, okay, they are ready to come there, put the main bowl in shape, that the only negotiation they want for is that they will not pay any money. They will put it and leave it for you to go. What did the National Theatre management say? They said, no, bring the money. It's the same attitude of local government. You want to repair the road in front of that, bring the money. Do they want it to work? It's because it has become the cash cow. The same thing with the cultural policy, they will not allow it to work. Because they know that once it works, all these things we're discussing will not.
And there'll be enforcement.
Yeah, because the policy will now say, okay, we want a 10-man board, as Toni has said, a 10-man board to run the national. You don't have to be artists.
Yeah.
10-man board, one big businessman who has made success or something, 10-man board, they will be the one to decide which artistic product goes into the national theatre. It's only here that young actors start their career from the national theatre. In other places, in Ghana, you start from your local place, you graduate to the national theatre.
So you have your